I'm always surprised that it is not in people's top 5 or 10, right? Because these people you've paid to acquire them, they've done something that said, I'm interested in you. What you've sent them is not proven valuable. I would want to learn from those people, and I would want to leave them with a great branded experience. Here's the thesis I'm going on. If I power this, I power your unsubscribe, those people are actively saying, I don't want email. Those are my target users. It's kind of a win-win-win-win for everybody.
Hello, Martians. Welcome back to another episode of Marketing on Mars. Today, I'm super excited to talk to Andy Mowat. He's the CEO of Gated, which is essentially, it's like an email blocking, kind of helping you to block out unwanted emails. It's free to use. And basically, in order for a sender to get you to read an email, they have to donate to charity, which when I first met Andy, it was a brilliant idea. I actually am a user of Gated, so I'm super excited to have him on. Andy, thank you for joining the show.
Awesome to be here. I've spent my whole career in marketing. Looks like you have too. So it's I'm looking forward to spicing it up.
Yeah, I'll do a quick little intro of you because your background is quite incredible, and then I'll kind of pass it over to you. We'll do a little intro, and then we'll start the show off. So Andy's background, he's worked for big companies like Upwork, for example, early days, 2010, VP of operations at Upwork. And then he started, and then he moved over to customer success at Box, where he basically managed over $400 million in revenue, or a team that operated in that large of a space. And then he got into kind of getting into go-to-market strategies in companies like Culture Amp, GTM Fund, etc. Invested in a few companies, and then he started Gated in 2011. So seasoned veteran in the startup space, and then got to starting his own company. We'll learn a lot more about Gated and all the numbers behind it. But Andy, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your background and your upbringing and how everything that you learned along the way led you to Gated.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got kind of two halves of the career. Like there's the before tech version of Andy, and then there's the figuring out what I was really, really good at, which is scaling go-to-market machines. So I'm happy to give you the quick version of the pre-SaaS world, and then we can go from there. Born and raised Bay Area, Princeton undergrad, took Czech. Lived in Eastern Europe for a couple of years and ran a company at 25 with 7,000 employees. I ran all the finance. And so I learned an absolute ton. I came back to Stanford for business school. I did some crazy stuff for a couple of years. And then I read the book 4 Hour Workweek, and it kind of showed me the aggressive level of thinking, but also how you can use technology and just strategy to be able to be smarter. And I said to myself, I need to work for Elance or Odesk. And I cold called both the CEOs. I had offers for both, became friends with both, ended up taking an offer to work with the CEO of Elance to run BD. And he kept throwing me at problems in the go-to-market space. And so I basically, I think I sent an email to 800,000 IT professionals, got Elance banned for spamming, and built out their marketing automation, built out their sales force, built out their sales teams, and learned an absolute ton, and really was like, wow, I'm good at this. And from there, I've basically run RevOps, go-to-market, marketing at unicorns. And that's kind of been my path, and happy to talk about how we figured out the Gated needed to exist.
Yeah, no, that's super cool that you did all of that. And you also worked in, so you had a very non-traditional route, because you also worked at like a big bank as well, early in your career, right? You worked at Credit Suisse. When did you kind of, was it just, did you just kind of, all the roles that you had just kind of led you to go to market, or were you always kind of entrepreneurial and wanted to figure these things out? Or was it really the book 4 Hour Workweek that really made you decide, hey, you know what, I eventually want to start a company myself. So I wanted to learn all the go-to-market strategies and tips.
Yeah. I was on the trading floor in Wall Street in 96 when Netscape went public. I remember, being like, wow, I remember the conversations that day. And obviously there were some bumps and stuff along the way, but I've always had tech in my mind. I grew up in the Bay Area, so that was always important.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
came into Stanford Business School in 99. I graduated in '01, right? It was hot in 99. It was a disaster and a wasteland in '01. And so I could
Mhm.
not find a job graduating from Stanford Business School. So I went to work for a wealthy family that owned, I think, like the fourth or fifth largest movie theater chain in the country. And they said, come help us build
Mm.
new businesses. And so I did that for 6 years. I had a blast, but it wasn't my family and it
Mm.
wasn't tech, right? And so that's when I read the book and was like, okay, I need to get. I mean, that book, if people haven't read it, it's very inspiring. I appreciate Tim putting those words on paper.
Yeah, and I also read the 4 Hour Work Week, and I think it must have been around. No, I didn't read it around the time you read it. I read it much later after, because I graduated university in 2013, 2014,
Yep.
and that was when I read the 4 Hour Work Week. And at the time, my goal was just to work 4 hours, but I think that wasn't the point of the book. And I'm sure you can maybe we can quickly talk about it before we jump over. But like I just learned like how to build systems to run
Yes.
efficiently. Like that was the whole point of the book, and it allowed me to do so much. And that's the key to a startup, right? You got to ship fast, you got to do things fast, and in order to do that, you got to break things down into tiny pieces and be able to systematize everything.
That's exactly right. Like that is what go to market operations and marketing strategy and executing on marketing is all about, right? And so it's like I think my operational brain that resonated with, and I don't think
Yeah,
that book told me where I needed to be, but I think it pushed me out of my comfort zone a little bit, and it's like wow, I need to pick up the phone and cold call these CEOs, and I've always had this deep belief that like whoever I need to reach, I can reach. I just have to be clear on who it is. So yeah,
yeah,
I think a lot of people spend a lot of their career until they're like, wow, I'm standing in a place that I feels right and it feels good and I'm good at it. And that's kind of what I
mm,
had when I was at ELS.
yeah. Okay, so before we talk it further, I told you a few weeks or a few months ago that we're going to be taking a shot of hot sauce. Is how we start off the show. And basically, as the I see what you got. What do you have, by the way? Is that a
This is homemade
homemade?
salsa. My wife's from Mexico City. Our nanny made this salsa, and I won't perfect. It's one of those things where you open it, you don't know if it's going to be hot or not hot. So we'll find out.
We'll figure it out. Okay, so I got a sauce from Korea. I just came back, by the way. Landed 2 days ago, back in Vancouver, Canada, and still have this hot Korean hot sauce with me. So we'll start off the show this way. Cheers.
It's hot.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I don't have water with me, so let's have some fun.
Whew. Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna try to take a little break by asking you the first question. Um, that is spicy. Oh my god. My face is getting red. Okay, first question. So I've kind of explained a little bit about what Gated does, but maybe you can
Yeah.
give us the quick, 1 or 2 sentence intro. What is Gated, and what problem are you guys solving in the market?
So the what is gated forces people who don't know you to take an extra step, take an extra action to be able to get into your inbox. I created it initially. It was just so overloaded with email. I wrote a note and I said, "Hey, here's my Venmo. I don't know you. Donate 10 cents and it'll get to my inbox." And people started donating. And that is the original thing of Gated. Why did we build it? We have a really cool online interactive manifesto, and basically we believe you should control who can reach you. Right, your inbox is not
Mm,
a anyone can enter at any time.
yeah.
You should control um, how much it costs to reach you. Right, so you today, Simon, costs the exact same amount that a kid graduating from college this year does to reach on LinkedIn, right? Like it's one email credit, um,
Yeah.
and um, and then you should control where the money for that goes. We don't believe you. Frankly, most people don't want that money. They really want the focus and all of that. And so
Mm,
we send 70% of that donation to the nonprofit, and we keep 30%. Gated is completely free to the user.
mm. Yeah. Yeah. I actually downloaded Gated, and it basically it quiets my inbox. so that my inbox doesn't have as much spam.
Yep.
And most people, to be honest, they're blasting 5 or 10 emails into your inbox, like, per week, just trying to get to your to your inbox, and they have no intention to paying for you to read the email, and those aren't the people that you want to hit your inbox anyways, right?
Right.
So
Yes, exactly. I've got a woman from Taiwan or China. Every couple months, she sends me an email saying, "Hey, taking orders for plastic shopping carts, customized however you want them. I'm just not gonna buy that." And the
no,
best part is, she's not going to donate, and so like it's a
no.
win-win. I don't see her email and all that. But then here's the coolest part to be found is, and somebody said this to me really early. That's very senior in the email space. This has to work for both sides, and
Mm,
so if somebody donates on an email, an unknown person donates, the reply rate on average is 46%. Not 100%, but
mm.
it's high, right? Like it's 20 to 30x a
Wow.
typical cold email reply, which all of a sudden means by killing the noise, we're helping both sides win. The user doesn't get overloaded by the noise. The sender is able to cut through the noise. I will say, as we think through the product, and we can talk a little bit more about it, like within email, we can kill the noise. People ask every day, can I get gated for LinkedIn? Can I get it for text? Can I get it for phone?
Mm,
Can I get it for different mediums? We're very aware that we can't build the same tool on other places because they're all closed environments, whereas email's open. And so we're working much more, which is really interesting, on like how do you not just kill the bad signal, but how do you amplify the good stuff, right? So
the
how do
good
you
stuff.
hear from your network? Yeah, how do you amplify the relevant stuff? And so that's what we're spending. That's where the next iteration of our product will come as well.
Okay, well, excited to get into that. And you guys have already gotten some success. You guys have raised some money. You have users already. Can you share stats on that? I know you guys have raised a little bit of money. Is that number shareable? Can you tell us a little bit about how much you've raised to date?
Yeah. Our deal is, you asked me a hard question, I'll give you a hard answer. So we've raised $3.5 million. I'd say about half of that's from go-to-market angels, right? So like leading
Okay.
people in sales and marketing that understand the power that we're bringing. And then there's a couple really sharp seed stage funds that have given us money. I'd say Charles Hudson at Precursor is both a user and an investor. Sam Yegan
Oh,
at
okay.
Corazon, and then there's a bunch of others as well too. But
Wow.
those are two just that I've really enjoyed. But the names both we have, if you look at us on LinkedIn, you'll see we've got like 50 advisors. And so there are top go-to-market people that believe in what we're doing. We also have some behind the scenes people that are insanely influential that believe in it, but can't talk about it. Right. And you can imagine which kind of
Mm,
companies those work at. And so for us, like people get excited about what we're doing and the change we could bring.
mm. Yeah. So you guys to raise a little bit of money, and you guys also have some users. Talk to us about where you guys are at in terms of user numbers currently.
We're about 5,000 users. We're sending about 600,000 challenge emails a month. We're growing at a nice rate, call it like 10 to 20% a month. The beautiful thing about it is if you make it through the first week or two, and you could probably speak to this, like you don't really turn it off after that point, right? Like it becomes like, I can't
Yeah.
imagine life before. Like before I'd wake up and have to spend my first 10 minutes cleaning out the crap. Now I don't have to do that anymore. So for us, what we found is people are insanely loyal and passionate. We've built a product that people love. Looks like you're still
Yeah.
suffering
No,
from that first hot sauce. Yeah.
that was a lot more than I thought. I didn't eat breakfast, so all of these things, and I still have jet lag because I landed just like little less than 24 hours ago. So you're my first podcast in North America in a while. So this is gonna be a fun one. And last time we spoke, you guys launched not too long ago. The product itself
Yeah.
launched not too long ago. When exactly did it launch?
Roughly April, May. So like 9 months ago.
Amazing. 9 months and 5,000 users. Did that all come in? Did you have like a waiting list before you launch, or that was acquired? So did you launch with 0 users? Talk to us about
Yeah,
that.
we had a
Like
waiting
the
list of
first
we had
few
a waiting
months.
list of about 1,000 users on the wait list. I think what
Okay.
everyone finds is if that wait list takes a while before you open it up, those people don't all come through. So I'd say we popped
Yeah.
like 500 in the first week or so, and then Product Hunt was huge. We got number one on Product Hunt, and then we've seen
Wow.
like I look at Product Hunt more as a branding opportunity than as a user acquisition. But it was a great experience
Yeah.
to be able to get number one there for sure. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's been like steady growth and different experiments have popped it. Honestly, I think I'm bummed that we're not at 100,000 users right now, Simon. This
Mm.
thing it's free. It fundamentally changes your relationship in powerful ways, and it does good for the world. And so I think we think a lot about like, what are the friction points why it hasn't grown as fast? And so I'm proud of where we're at. I love the change we're bringing. Every time I go anywhere in the go-to-market world, everyone's like, yes, I've heard about gated. I see it all the time. And so we're making a massive impact. And now our job is to figure out like, how do we fundamentally put the
Yeah.
dent in the universe that we want to.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move over. Let's move into the exciting part of the show, because this show, Marketing on Mars, we want to talk about marketing and growth. You guys have grown, although you're not at 100,000 users, still 9 months, 5,000 users, 600,000 emails sent. Those are some incredible numbers, and you've raised some money already. What was the go-to-market strategy when you first started? And maybe we can talk about that first, that first hump, right? Getting to 1,000 users, even to 100 users, like that was not easy. Like, what was your go-to-market strategy in the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, we've always believed deeply in the value of brand, right? Like at Culture Amp, we ran the brand playbook really well. Happy to talk a little bit more about that. So very early on, I said to my co-founder, Melissa, everyone believes in what we're doing. Not everyone can use our product. How do we connect that, right? So we wrote a manifesto. It's gated.com/manifesto. It's interactive. It's interesting. It's cool. And so we really have always, there's talking about the product and there's talking about the change you want to bring in the world. And so I think we've done a lot of that. We've built a very powerful brand. We've had kind of like takeovers of LinkedIn. We're running, like social, LinkedIn, has been powerful. I'd say customer advocacy. I've got a whole article on my LinkedIn around every tactic we've used for that. But like, our users freaking love the product. And we need to make sure that they're talking as much as possible and sharing. And so every morning I wake up and there's 10 to 20 dialogues tagging gated, and so I think we've really helped people understand what we stand for and what we do. There is an inherent virality to what we do. As I said, we don't just send, we send on behalf of our users from their emails, 600,000 challenges, which is, that's our brand 600,000 times, but it's also their brand too. And so we need to make sure it works really well. Everyone's aware of us. I think there's this mindset of like, what is this thing? This is weird. This is odd. But once you get the 5th or the 10th, the 20th, you start to understand like, okay, it's kind of like Calendly, right? Like first time you got a Calendly, you're like, what is this thing? What do I do? And then all of a sudden, you're like, okay, cool. You got it. Cool. Done. And so, I think we are changing norms. We are changing behaviors. Like we're crossing the chasm. That's hard. And so I'd say that's a lot of what we think about with this marketing strategy.
Yeah. So it's a lot of branding. Yeah. And your product, you're right. Your product is inherently viral because, since I've downloaded Gated, and I downloaded, I think we talked back in September, very early stage. I think you guys at that point just launched 3 months ago. Since I've downloaded Gated, I think I've probably received hundreds of thousands of emails, and every single time someone tries to email me, guess what? Gated, boom, right there, right? Not a lot of products have that inherently viral kind of characteristic that you guys have. So that's incredible. You
I'll
guys
say
do
one thing,
also,
just one nuance to that. We're viral with people you don't know. We're not viral with people you do know. And that's something that we're spending a lot of time thinking about. It's like the next kind of lever, right? Because people that know Simon trust Simon, and they're probably more like Simon. The people that don't know Simon, and they're probably trying to sell him something. And we haven't built the product for salespeople. So that's I think people view us as, we have massive brand virality. We're working on features that can drive like product virality as well too.
Yeah, yeah. And so I've been using the free model um since August, but you guys also have like a paid version as well, right?
There is no paid version. No, it's free,
There's
free,
no paid
free, and
version.
free.
Free,
Yeah.
free, free, free. Okay, so where does the revenue come
Well,
from
actually,
for you
let
guys?
me clarify. Let me clarify. It's free for
Okay,
users. And here's how I would look at it.
free for
You
users,
shouldn't
right?
have you should not have to pay to clean up the dog poop that your neighbor dumped on your lawn. Your inbox is
Mm,
like your lawn. Any random person before gated can come on in and dump crap on your inbox. We are
right,
the
right.
person that says, "I'm sorry, we're going to go chase down that neighbor, and we're going to explain to that neighbor that they probably should, pick up the dog poop." And so,
Mm,
so in essence, it's free for you, and that's what we really, getting the word out and spreading it is, we need to have very low cost acquisition channels versus there because of our model. We take 30% of every donation, and so that's how we're making the money.
okay, okay. So that's how it works. And where are you guys at in terms of revenue right now? I don't know if that's shareable. I'm cautious about the question I'm asking you, but I want to know because you guys have gone over 5,000 users now. You guys are growing rapidly. Where does that translate in terms of revenue?
Yeah, yeah. The reason I don't share that number is because it's not our top line number that we're focused on, right? Like I believe
Mm,
deeply in focusing in on metrics that I think if I share metrics out that are not our core metrics, it sends the wrong signal to our team. So what
right.
we do focus on is percentage of users that we get a donation from in a month, and in areas like that. And but what we don't focus on, we don't share revenue. We aren't trying to optimize. Another thing is we default everyone to a minimum donation of $2. You can control that. I
Mm,
think the real clearing price is higher. And so what we want to do is we want to make this work for both sides. And so
I
for
see.
us, if we were like, cool, pay $100 to deliver an email to Simon, senders will kind of write it off, and it's about crossing the chasm. So I don't share
I
that,
see.
but
Yeah.
we can definitely talk about the dynamics of the donation, which I think is almost
Yeah.
more interesting. I have to. You want me to
Oh
take a
my
shot?
goodness. Yeah. You know what? It was such a beautiful answer. I thought you were going to get away with it, but okay. All right. I guess the Martians don't want to do
You don't have
this.
to do it. You don't have to. No, 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 no. Don't. I felt so. I felt so bad last time you did it, so you don't have to do it.
I have a responsibility to ask the right questions as well. So it goes both ways. Oh my goodness. By the way, what hot sauce are you having right now? Like, do you know what's
Oh
inside
yeah, we
it?
were talking. It's homemade. It's tomatillo salsa, and so it's not as spicy as I anticipated it being. So I'm doing a little bit better than you are.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like capsaicin, like
Oh
concentrate.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
it gets a little spicy. Okay, so you talked about the main focus is not on revenue, but on percentage of donations. Any stats that you
Yeah.
can share there? What have you learned so
Yeah.
far?
So, if you're using it are you using it on your work email or your personal or both? Your
Work,
work email,
work,
right?
work right
Yeah.
now.
So
Yeah.
on work emails, we monetize about 46%. I'm sorry, 40% of the people that are work users get at least one donation in a month, and that's by like active folks. On the personal side, it's much much lower. And here's how I look at it:
Hmm.
your people are selling to you and marketing to you on your work email. Salespeople will
Yep.
pay. But when you're sending a marketing email or a newsletter, you're not going to like pay, right? And on your personal email, you're only getting marketed
No.
to. So, yeah,
Yeah.
and so yeah, we monetize a very high percentage of people in there. Now, we've got some users that are getting upwards of $200, $300 a month in donations. So it can be significant, and other people get $1, $2 donation.
Yeah. No, I've definitely seen some people make it through my inbox, so they're definitely donating and making it through. So but yeah, those are some incredible, and you're doing a good cause, right? You're doing good for the world because you're donating to charity. By the way, I haven't selected the charity that it gets donated to. Is there a default that
Yes,
the
yes,
money
we're
goes into?
changing the default. Yeah, we kind of figure some people feel really strongly about a nonprofit, so we can support anyone of 250,000. But we default people. I think probably when you signed up, it was Doctors Without Borders because they've been making a tremendous
Ah,
difference in
yes,
Ukraine.
yes.
We've also been doing charity water as well. So it's like, but you can go in and control your nonprofit at any time.
Okay, cool. This might be interesting though. Is there a way for me to say, hey, you can come into my inbox, but you got to do this action? So instead of a donation, it goes to a different action. Is that possible on the
Not
platform?
possible. Let me tell you my theory on it, and you can push me. Here's how I think about it. Like fundamentally, Simon, we're focused on sender incentives, right? Like if we can make the senders think differently, they may edit what they send. Here's the problem with
Mm,
a captcha, stand on your head, run around the block, like juggle. It's going to put more burden on the SDR. And so the SDRs have a
mm,
pretty crap role today, right? Like they send out
yeah.
100 emails, they get 2 responses. It's like they're cold calling. It's really rough. And so the monetization aspect is I want to put the burden on their company, not on them. And so, because if I just made some juggling thing, it would be there. And so, like, that's the part where I don't want to penalize. And so the SDR is like, they're going to take it to their boss. They have a Sendoso budget. They have like budgets for these things. And so this is just another item that people are budgeting. I mean, if I just make it a CAPTCHA to like, everyone will do it, right? It's like and they'll just like wait. It's more of I'm not out to waste time of
Mm,
people. I'm out to create the right level of friction, and I think the right level of friction has to be monetary.
right, right. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so going back, I think before we started talking about revenue, I think we are talking about go-to-market strategy. You
Yeah,
talked a
yeah.
little bit about social and LinkedIn being strong. Other Before we dive into that, are there other channels that work well for you guys? Are you guys doing anything for ads, paid ads, blog content? Is SEO a huge strategy for you guys? Any other channels that work well for you guys?
Yeah, we're SEO is working and cranking up. I mean, there's a lot of pain in the areas we talk about. We have tested ads. Given our like revenue model, we can't spend a ton on ads. We've dialed
Right.
in um, paid ads to like $3 and $4 CAC. But the problem we're finding with it is they're yielding too many people that
Wow.
have personal emails, right? So we can acquire people
Mm.
really cheaply, but we're not acquiring the right people. So we're spending a lot of time trying to align those two channels right now.
$3 to $4 CAC. Where is that? Is that usually on Google, or are you advertising
Yeah,
on LinkedIn? Because that's
Google SEM and small on Google Display. We've tested Facebook. Facebook was just crap audience, right? Like
yeah.
it was just rent. It was just, I mean, it was just really bad. I still think it's like viral and product led growth are ideal for this versus this stuff. But we've definitely tested. Like my co-founder came from Google, spent 14 years there, so we've got a lot of experience in that space.
So interesting. We've had over 35 CMOs and CEOs and founders on the show. I don't know what the breakdown is. Actually, I should probably check, but mostly leaders that are touching the ad spend. And I would say Facebook 9 times out of 10, or like 9.5 times out of 10, doesn't work for B2B if you're targeting B2B. And what works is like um a few companies came on and said Facebook works, and those are like unique products that you've never seen before. Like for example, a tongue scraper. We had a tongue scraper,
Yeah, yeah. It works for B2C, but not
right?
for B2B. Yeah,
Exactly, B2C, but not all B2C though. I would say not all B2C. It can't, like,
yeah.
if you're just doing a regular hot sauce, like a hot sauce that you can get anywhere, it's not going to work for you. It has to be something that you haven't seen before, and then you're like, "Whoa, what is this?" And then you go forward. So what I found is that B2B, I mean, Facebook works for very specific subset of the audience, so it makes sense. Facebook is not strong for you guys, so Google works. What about LinkedIn? Like, have you guys tested LinkedIn? Because I feel
LinkedIn
like
ads are
that's
just
B2B, right?
the ads are too expensive for us versus our current monetization, but we could do it, right? And so then you're competing. Um, we know what we can pay. We're pretty smart on that, and obviously, like we spend a lot of time thinking about our monetization model, and our monetization
Right.
model gets better and better and better at scale. Like every month it gets better. People are like, "Oh, I no gated it. Let me go donate." But it's not like where we could put the pedal down for LinkedIn at this point in time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I think CPA on LinkedIn, and obviously it changes from industry to industry. It's probably between the $10 to $20 range for a CPA. But it could actually go up in some industries. But have you guys done any testing at all and seen what
We've
the
done little bits.
CPA looks
I
like?
mean, I think we could probably dial in. We could dial in a little bit more, but we've done some testing, but we haven't found it to be
Haven't done
like
too much.
massive. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you've done some ads, very minor, very small. You're doing some SEO, but we can dive into that a little bit. Social. Anything else? Any other channels that are worthwhile to mention for you guys?
You want to know the one I'm working on? I think you'll really enjoy it. It's kind of a little bit out of the box. But I'll send it to you afterwards.
I'd love to hear that.
Okay, so this is like my marketing hat on, and I've run obviously marketing in a couple companies. Unsubscribe is broken. It's fundamentally a terrible experience. And so, but here's the thing. Those people signed up for your stuff, unless you fake added them. They signed up for your stuff because they were intrigued. And just because somebody unsubscribes doesn't mean that they're not still interested. But you're giving them a terrible, unbranded, unsubscribe experience where you're not learning anything from them. We have built a platform.
Yes,
and Simon, if you've seen a newsletter, I'd love to get you using it. We built a platform where in 2 minutes, you give me a video, I can deliver a customized unsubscribe page for you where it's like, hey, this is Simon. I'm so sorry. You got this. Our intent is that we love you love our podcast. We'd love to I'd love to get your feedback on why you're unsubscribing and learn, right? And so it may be I just don't want as much from you, or I want it on a different channel. So, and in exchange, if you give me feedback, I'll donate $1 to your nonprofit. If we do that,
so now you're spinning it. So now you're spinning it back. So it's the other way around. So in the beginning, they're paying for you, and now you're paying that. Wow, that's powerful. And has that feature been launched yet, or?
It's in beta. I've shared it with probably 25 top marketing teams, right? Like since marketers and RevOps and people like that are our top users. And by the way, anyone listening here, definitely sign up for Gated. We figure we want to focus on people that are targeting marketers. Like if you want to be in beta, we'd love to have you. Here's what I've learned is for smaller folks, like unsubscribe is not in their top 5 things, right? Like let me go fix unsubscribe. It doesn't, and that's why we've made it really simple and easy to flip on versus like if you wanted to go do it in HubSpot or Marketo, it's basically impossible because I've tried. And so so at the same time, I think I'm always surprised that it is not in people's top 5 or 10, right? Because these people you've paid to acquire them, and they've done something that said, I'm interested in you. And somehow what you've sent them is not proven valuable. I would want to learn from those people, and I would want to leave them with a great branded experience. And so here's the thesis I'm going on, Simon, which is if I power this and I give it away it would be free to people that are targeting our target markets. I power your unsubscribe. Those people are actively saying, I don't want email. Those are my target users. And so it's kind of a win-win-win-win for everybody. Marketers
I don't want to
win.
spend too much time talking about this because I want to dive into your channels, but this could be very, very interesting. So just some stats on my work email that I've installed Gated on. We get about 40,000 subscribers every single month. Right? 40,000 new subscribers every single month.
You add 40,000 subscribers?
Yeah, 40,000 new email subscribers every single, because it's a job board, right? So we get 200,000 visitors on and they subscribe. They subscribe because they want to get a job and they want the job alerts. So the churn rate is really high, right? It's like literally 40,000 new subscribers, but once they get a job, guess what? I'm peacing, right? I'm getting out. Like I don't need job alerts anymore because I've already got a job. So subscribe rate is really high, but unsubscribe rate is really high. So I wonder if there's something interesting that can be done there. We definitely need to have another conversation about this. But let's
you and I riff on it. We'll have a lot of fun with this one. This is at a fundamental level, like you should be able to brand yourself, and you should be able to learn from these people. And people are not doing that today and unsubscribe.
Yeah. Okay. This is really cool. I'm excited to learn more about that when you have maybe like a part two later on in the year when you come back on. We'll get like some updates on you and we can talk more about that. I want to dive into. It seems like the number one channel for you because I've seen your LinkedIn. LinkedIn seems to be a big channel for you guys. Is that where you guys spend most of your time nowadays?
In terms of social, yes, we've narrowed it down. Like like everyone else, we did the small riff and we decided to we weren't going to do TikTok and Instagram and things like that for now. And so
Yeah.
I think if you're on LinkedIn and you know about us, and you probably have a lot of brand love around us, which is exactly what we want to accomplish. Now converting those into signups is the next part. And I think that's just, we're tweaking and refining the thing. And I think people need to go from, I have a good brand impression of Gated to I have that moment when I need it, right? I have a new job. My email gets out there and I start to get blown up. And so I think we're spending a lot of time thinking about that. But yeah, LinkedIn's huge. And then I think personally, I've made a decision. I was always one of those people that didn't want LinkedIn invites, didn't add more people. And I think I've seen the power of LinkedIn as a thought leadership as well too. And so I think personally I've taken that step and so has Melissa on our team.
Yeah. I want to hear your thoughts on this because LinkedIn 2 years ago, pre-pandemic, is or 2.5 years ago, is very different from LinkedIn now. I have this sense, and you're very active on LinkedIn, that LinkedIn obviously very strong for B2B, but now everyone is jumping on this thought leadership bandwagon. Everybody is now, especially 2023.
Yeah.
I've seen a massive increase in right now as we're speaking. I have 180 LinkedIn requests that I haven't responded to yet, and that number increases all the time. And everyone is trying to get attention on LinkedIn. How do you break through the noise? Like, what have you seen?
You're gonna have me riff for a while. LinkedIn has fundamentally changed. A value of a LinkedIn connection is declining every single month, right? Like it used to be you only connected with people you knew. And now the people with lots of connections are influencers. I have met and talked to people that are making $500 a post to post on LinkedIn. The influencer idea is taking over. And so what people have kind of realized is if I get a lot of followers, people will see me as more influential. They will want me to be an advisor to their company. They will want to pay me to post.
Absolutely.
They will want to leverage my profile, right? And so it sucks, right? Because LinkedIn, and so what that means is your DMs are absolutely atrocious, right? People say to me every day, Andy, can you build Gated for LinkedIn? Unfortunately, I can't. Yeah. But I can't without doing some stuff that will get us busted by LinkedIn. I could if I was willing to play a little bit aggressive, but that would be a bad idea because we really see LinkedIn as a long-term partner. So LinkedIn's flawed, right? And the noise is increasing there. But the saddest thing for me is a connection doesn't mean anything, right? If you ping me and are like, hey, Andy, do you know that person? Odds are I won't anymore, right? I will tell you a fun tactic we're running is like a growth hack, which is every time somebody donates, we clearbit them. And then I get a Slack if they have an interesting profile. And then I will send I have an automation that says, hey, cool to see your donation on Gated. Not to everybody that donates, but the interesting profiles. And I connect with some really fascinating people off of that, right? I won't name specific names, but some very big influencers are seeing Gated and donating. And so all of a sudden I can get to know them, meet them. And so for me, it's actually become a phenomenal way. I don't accept many inbound, but I send a lot of outbound.
Yeah. So what are you guys doing on LinkedIn aside from, so I know you post very, very often or relatively frequently. Aside from, what are your thoughts on the tips and tricks to build a good kind of thought leadership or a good?
I think it's write good content. Write good content, and unfortunately, the problem is where do you write that content? Right, if you write it on Substack, LinkedIn may penalize it. If you write it on LinkedIn, it doesn't get that broad distribution. But if you look at my LinkedIn, I probably written 30 or 40 articles that are in-depth thought things. So I try to do that, but I can do one of those a month, maybe at most, right? So I don't have a perfect answer to this thing. I think everyone's trying to figure out.
Everyone's trying to figure it out.
Here's how I look at it. I just want to be there. I want to be helpful to people in my network that I value, and I want to be active and I think it'll benefit me, right? Like, do I post every day? No. Should I? Probably yes, according to the algorithm. But like, I'm busy some days.
According to the algorithm, yeah. No, that makes sense. And what do you like? There's a lot of thoughts on like, what are your thoughts on community this year, 2023? Is that something that
Uh,
because I know you're connecting a lot with donors. Is there a way to turn that into a community type of thing?
So we have not built our own community for Gated. We do have a community, but it's private and we're not trying to grow it. And I'm happy to talk about the strategy there if you want. A community was a core tenet of what we run at Culture Amp. I have a detailed article on all of my community tactics. I think at the beginning of that article, it talks about like, should I build a community and what are the 3 or 4 questions I need to be able to answer? We have not we have not answered those questions in a way where we believe we ourselves should build a community. I think separately, I'm in 32 Slack communities, but they're all over. Like, I look at them in 3 buckets: the ones I work at, like my actual work; the ones that are really, really highly curated, that I have like less than 200 people, and every conversation is valuable. And there's 3 or 4 of those, and then everything else where I just set my keywords, and if somebody mentions Gated or inbox overload or some of the concepts that I deeply care about, like I'll get alerted and I can join those. Like, that's how I approach community. I think there've been a lot of people who try to build businesses around community, and it's hard to run. When you do it well, it's magic, but you got to do it holistically. As I said, the best people I ever saw that did it were Gainsight. I learned a ton from them, right? Like, if you're posting a customer success job, you're probably going to post on Gainsight's job board. You're going to be in their orbit. And their whole goal was, when you buy CS software, we need to be in that deal. And they succeeded. But that's hard. I think we did it at Culture Amp, and I've got every tactic I ran on my article. But it's, I think a lot of people are like, community, let's do it. And they don't really think it through. So I'd say you should be present in community. But whether you should build one, you should be a lot more critical about that one.
Yeah. That's tough to do. I mean, it's one of those things, like, B2B, especially B2B, they talk about community all the time. But, when I talk to a lot of leaders, and I'm curious to hear your thought, because you're a part of a lot of different communities, but where you actually put focus on, you probably only have enough bandwidth, brain power to be involved with maybe 2 communities.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I have 2. I have Gated Work, I have Gated Private Community, and then I have 3 investment / CEO level groups that I will be proactive in, and beyond that, I will not be proactive in anything.
So exactly. So you got 2 internal communities and only 1 external community that you would actually invest time in, and that is a challenge for me.
2 to 3 external ones that I do. But here's the thing: what I found, if it gets to be more than, like, if it's anybody can join and it's not curated, and the value of the community just starts to decline, right? And unless it's like, I need to be in that community to learn that exact thing that time, right? So, like, Wizards of Ops for RevOps is great if you're deep in that. And I'm, Mo Pros, Marketing Ops Pros, like, I personally invested in, love what Rizzo's doing there, but like, only when you're doing marketing ops on a day-to-day basis do you need to be in those types of communities.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, and then before we jump out, because we talked about a lot of different things, right? But you guys just to recap, social, LinkedIn, strong, SEO, blog posts. That's also slowly working for you guys, and you guys are testing a little bit of ads. Those seems to be the 3 major channels for you. What should we look out for Gated in the next, let's say, 6 to 12 months? What are some of the big things that are going to be that we should be on the lookout for?
In the next 6 to 8 weeks, I would say we will be moving and extending our product beyond email. What that looks like will be coming soon. Simon is a user. If you want to give feedback, I can send you a fun feedback. We're thinking deeply about the brand and then that. So that's one. I think this unsubscribe is another thing that we're working on. And
I like that one.
Yeah, I think that one I'd love to geek out more with you, given how you think about marketing as well too. So those are 2 that we've got, and then we've got 2 or 3 more in the hopper. But we're a small company; we still have to think through that. Another thing we are deeply thinking about is people are passionate about what we're doing. A lot of people ask, can we invest? We're thinking about like opening up a community round where people that
Mm.
love what we're doing can invest in Gated and help us kind of accelerate. So that's something that is on my plate and I'm thinking deeply about and maybe coming soon.
Okay, sweet. Well, I think we'll end it off here, but I would like to propose one last shot of hot sauce before we jump out.
Got
And
it.
while we're doing that, just want to thank you for your time, and we'll have to reconnect. We'll have to reconnect soon for sure to talk about some of the new features. But thank you so much for coming on and sharing all your insights with the Marketing on Mars crew. Appreciate your time.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you want to learn more about marketing, just hit that subscribe button and check out all the other videos we have with CEOs, CMOs, and founders. We post weekly here, so this way you won't miss any future episodes. Also, you can leave me a comment down below on what you think about this episode and also what else I can do or ask to make the show more fun for you. See you later.